hundreds of years of tree rings reveal a grim anomaly that began in the 20th century. If you look carefully, and the tree rings can reveal quite a lot of what's going on with our environment, including changes in the soil moisture and that the trees are growing in and what's happening there. Now scientists have collected 600 years of this data to better understand recent climate change, including a weather anomaly that was first noticeable in the middle of the 20th century. The new records make up the latest edition of the South American Drought Atlas, SADA for short, showing moisture variability over the past 6 centuries, backed up by other historical records. Meanwhile, periods between intense droughts have been on the rise since 1930s, with one drought every 10 years being measured since the 1960s. What the rings can't tell us is exactly how these extremes came about, but the researchers behind the publication are hoping that the record will be a useful reference point to be used in combination with other sets of data and observations. Increasingly, extra hydroclimate events are consistent with the effects of human activities, but the atlas alone does not provide evidence of how much of the observed changes are due to natural climate variability versus human-induced warming. This is what paleoclimatologist Mariano Morales explains. He's from the National Research Council for Science and Technology in Argentina. This new edition of SADA highlights changes across Argentina, Chile, Uruguay, Paraguay, most of Bolivia, southern Brazil, and Peru, using data collected in the field from a total of 286 trees. So as we can see, it's basically Central and Latin America, Central Latin America. Well, I shouldn't say central because Chile goes all the way down and Argentina does too. South America anyway, and it's not too many trees, it's only 286 trees, but still this is what they used. South America has an acute vulnerability to extreme climate events, according to Morales, and indeed recent droughts have led to a dire situation for agriculture in vast areas of the continent. Certain food systems are now under threat of collapse. The current picture is a varied one, though. While parts of Argentina and Chile are suffering one of the worst droughts on record, regions in the southeastern part of the continent are experiencing abnormally wet conditions. If the underlying causes are not climate change, they certainly look a lot like climate change. Now, paleoclimatologist Edward Cook from Columbia University says, "We don't want to jump off the cliff and say this is all climate change. There is a lot of natural variability that could mimic human-induced climate change." The researchers identify 3 key factors at play in the swings of at least 60 years or so: cyclic sea surface temperature shifts over the Pacific and the Atlantic Oceans, a belt of westerly winds around Antarctica called the Southern Annular Mode, and the Hadley cell phenomenon that distributes warm and moist air from the equator. Shifts that can be attributed to greenhouse gases and the ongoing legacy of ozone depletion chemicals are interfering with these key factors, the researchers say, and potentially feeding into the swings that are now being seen in South America. The SADA team hopes that the tales told by the tree rings can give us a better understanding of long-term climate shifts, contemporary conditions, and how to plan for the future. The way that we're currently treating the planet suggests that our weather extremes won't be stopping anytime soon. Climate scientist Jason Smerden from Columbia University says, "Everything is consistent with the idea that you'll be intensifying both wet and dry events with global warming." And this has been published on PNAS, and it's on Science Alert by David Neal. This only has to do with South America, as we said. This study does not contain the tree rings having to do with the whole world. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events. events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.